Back to the charts with Big Boss Crypto, bringing you another day trading analysis on Bitcoin and on Chainlink. Today we're going to take a look at what has happened during the weekend and why I think we're starting to form a top formation on Bitcoin, and this might lead to that we can see a 18.5k Bitcoin within this week. I'm going to explain to you why I think so and other related crypto news. Stay tuned. So let's look at Bitcoin on the 4-hour time frame. We can see that the market has been moving up in 3 steps, and as you know, the market maker structure is something like this: W bottom, first leg up, second leg up, and then it tops out with an M formation of some kind, and then moves in the reverse direction in 3 steps, and that's where we form a new W, and we continue to the upside after that. But you know the drill. If you've been following this channel, this is the thing to look out for when day trading, because it is a profit making structure for the market maker, and that's how he grabs money from the retail investors. So we can see we moved up and down in 3 steps, and what we might expect is another leg up to form the double top formation, which will have the shape of an M probably. It could continue even higher up to 21.5k before we reverse down with our 3 legs to the downside. And I said to you that we might want to look at 18.5k because that is where we have a large VIC and it's also with high volume. This was where the market maker reversed price and began this big pump to the upside. This was where he built his longs and trapped retail traders going short. So I believe the next movement to the downside will happen this week, and we might even end the week at 18.5k. That's just an estimate for me, but I think so because we do have some news coming out this week, and those are kind of market making moves, to be honest, because we do have tomorrow the congressional elections in the US. If we have somewhat of a divided government where the Senate is Republican and the Congress is Democrat, that will have an impact in the short term for the markets, and people will probably sell off most of their assets in the US market, and that will have an impact on Bitcoin because we might see some reversals to the downside if that happens. But anything will move the market that is news related, and I think the US elections is a market moving event. So wait until the elections have finalized if you are a scalper or if you want to place a new trade. And we also have on Thursday the CPI numbers, which will show us how much the inflation has dropped or if it's even increasing. And we also have the unemployment claims, which is also very, very important news for the economy in general. And that will dictate how the Fed will do in December, if they're gonna increase the rates even higher than what is expected. Let's take a look at the liquidation map on Bitcoin. It is fairly even, but we do have more liquidation points to the downside, and the first stop is at 20.5k, which you haven't tapped into yet. We also have some liquidations at 19k all the way down to my projected target for this week at 18.5k, where there's a lot more longs being liquidated than there are shorts to the upside. So you do want to keep an eye out on for that, because there is a lot of liquidity to the downside but there still is some to the upside for the market maker to take, and people are talking about a 21.5k area, well, which is in this cluster here. And we do have a lot of liquidity to the upside as well for the market maker to grab. And if we go all the way up to 21.5k, where there are a lot of orders, where the market maker has been placing his shorts basically, it's either to trap the retail traders or it is to fill those orders and reverse price from there. So yeah, watch out for the 21.5k zone. Now let's take a look at Chainlink and what Chainlink has been doing. It has been moving nicely to the upside. We did have this W bottom formation, which we always talk about on this day trading updates, and that is where the market maker reverses its price action and moves in 3 steps to the upside, which he has done now. And we have seen our first retrace down here before our second top, and we're moving to the upside right now. I think that a possible target for you, if we zoom in a bit, is where the volume candle resides. We do not have them on the 4 hour, but let's take a look at the 1 hour if we can find any. We do have one right here which hasn't been recovered. We do have no, but this zone right here, I would suggest you, if you want to be a risky trader, that is where price possibly might reverse at 8.6 possibly, before we continue with the market maker structure and our moves to the downside, which will happen in 3 steps. We do have volume candles which we have drawn out last week, which is at the 7.3 area, and we do also have one at 6.9. So these are targets below. We do have our targets to the upside as well at 8.651 possibly. We are moving with volume right now on the 4 hour time frame. It's a blue candle in the PVSR tool, and as you know, that indicates buy and sell orders are being in high volume, and that will possibly mean that we might reverse in the next 4 hour candle. But watch out on that. We do want to see it finalized before we draw this conclusion. Last time we had a blue candle in the PVSR tool was this one, and it continued a little bit to the upside before reversing. So you do want to keep a close eye on the next 4 hour candles, because that will indicate a top formation on Chainlink before moving down to the 7.1 or even 6.9 area. So let's summarize this market update, November 7th. We do have the US election tomorrow, and that will impact the market in some way. But how big, that depends on the result basically. If we do have a divided government, that will mean more uncertainty for the market and everyone participating in the markets. And they will probably move their assets to dollars instead of holding assets like Bitcoin or stocks. So keep a close eye on the election results. The market will move the next day probably, because the election will be finalized during the day after basically. So point number 2 is that we have more liquidations to the downside than to the upside. That is usually an indication of where the money resides and where the market maker and the institutional investor might move price to grab that liquidity, fill his orders, and get the money from the retail trader that has been going long. And point number 3 is that we do see topping out structures in the form of M formations on Bitcoin and also on the alts. Especially we looked at Chainlink, which is our favorite altcoin. We do possibly have a double top formation forming during today or maybe tomorrow at latest. The targets I gave was at 21.5k for Bitcoin and 8.6 for Chainlink. But you never know, you do want to look at the candles. Blue and purple candles with large wicks on the lower time frames are especially interesting, and they usually indicate a reversal of some kind. So look out for that, and see if you can find any. And that is where you want to place your trades. But none of this is financial advice. It's all for educational and entertainment purposes only. That's it for today. I hope you liked this video and that you subscribe to our channel. Big Boss out.